Does it feel like the noise is starting to win? All the economic uncertainty, geopolitical issues that are ravaging the world, AI is taking over the world, and just the reality of aging. It's confusing. It's cluttering my mind. I'm wondering where this all goes. You go through life, you feel like you have it all worked out. And then you get to this point later in life where it's like, maybe I don't know what's going on. And it's scary. Luckily, I have the miles here to keep me company. And I feel like these miles are actually giving me an ability to have more clarity around what's happening in the world in the future. I got so many different information sources that are coming into me. I listen to so many podcasts. I get like macro information from Scott Galloway and his ProfG podcast, or Derek Thompson and his Plain English podcast. I get, the Moonshots guys. Peter Diamandis talks about AI and how that's, encompassing the world and how it's going to change things. It's like the macro stuff, which is great because it gives me a broad perspective in a real way. Then I focus on the micro stuff with me, with things like, Dr. Rangan Chatterjee, or the Good Life Project, or Dan Harris's 10% Happier podcast, which gets us some meditation stuff. And so get this like big macro stuff and then the micro, and it really becomes, a lot of inputs, a lot of things to think about here. I'm on the trail, and it really helps guide my life, and it's helped guide me to this point, this trail walking, this running, this idea for 2026 to get myself together, because there's a lot ahead of us. You think, you got it all figured out in life, and then things change, and you better change with it, or it's going to be pretty daunting. And then there's a couple things that get sent to me that really sort of change my perspective on hope. Hope is like my first million guys. Sam and Sean do a great job of taking all this uncertainty, this AI stuff, and packaging into, okay, what does that mean? What can we do to go forward? Take action going forward. I think that's great. This other guy, Chris Corner, does this too, with taking your career in your own hands and not being wedded to the corporate culture. And I think about that for my kids. So Chris Corner with a K, he does a really good job. I highly recommend anyone young to just sort of listen to how he approaches the use of AI and technology, and then just in real world, everyday examples, which is fantastic. And all that stuff means that I gotta spend some time just on stuff that doesn't matter. I love Bill Simmons' podcast and how he talks about sports and the NBA and NFL. And then, thank gosh for the Managing Madrid podcast and Kian Sahani, whatever, something like that. He's so great. He is, I love hearing about his thoughts around Fede Valverde or Arda Güler and the Real Madrid football team and the struggles they're having this year. And it just it's nice to take me away from all the other stuff. Plus, he does a great job of adding in just personal health and just thinking about how to approach. I just really appreciate guys like that and what they provide me. My fear is that if I just sat on the couch and listened to all this stuff, it would be really depressing. And I think I could feel how it would really take me down or take people down. And maybe that's where people are these days. What's really helped me is just getting out here and walking, moving, sweating, lifting heavy weights. Those kind of things are invaluable to sort of keep it all in perspective. I think focusing on the you and the micro of you helps you navigate a little better the macro of the world and what's changing. It's changing for sure, but so are we individually. And so we have to just sort of, keep iterating, keep finding what's working. But the idea is action, finding what's working, finding what's going to push you, challenge you. And I've so appreciated my focus this year. First time in my life to be focusing on myself like this, and it's given me so much more clarity and so much more ability to process all these inputs in a much clearer way. My big question these days is, how does the US navigate the financial waters that it's in? Massive debt load. How do we cure that? And that's a macro issue that infects the micro and creates uncertainty and how people progress. And it impacts me because as I head into the second half of life, I navigate this going forward. Well, I'm starting with my health first, but it's daunting. It's challenging. Luckily, this guy doesn't have to think about that stuff, right, Monty? He just wonders where he's going to get his back scratched and fed next. What do you do to navigate this stuff? I'm so curious how people, and basically everyone I meet with and talk to, I try to pick their brains, and I'd love to pick anyone's brain that wants to respond here in the comments about how do you navigate all this stuff. It's challenging, and I'm looking for navigation tips, compass tips, where to head, and how to just steer the ship. And so if anyone's got any ideas, things that help them, please let me know. So it's probably fair at this point to ask, hey, Mark, so you got all those inputs. What are the answers? And the reality is, I don't have any answers, but I believe, have a system I've sort of been using to deal with all this stuff. Let me go through that. First part of my system is education, being open to hearing what the heck is going on out there. I get a lot of inputs from a lot of people and a lot of podcasts and a lot of YouTube videos. And so you got to be open and you got to educate yourself so you understand what the challenges are out there and how other people are looking at them. The second thing is to compartmentalize a bit. Compartmentalize and segment what you can control and what you can't. I cannot control the bombing of Iran by our government. I cannot control the launching of satellites. I cannot control the taxes that are levied on me for real estate taxes. I like to think I have control of that in some ways by electing officials, but the reality is I do not have direct control over that. And thirdly is find where you have agency. Where is your agency? Usually, it's probably going to be limited to yourself, what you control for yourself. And that's what I've found this year. That's been the biggest lesson learned I've had this year is what I can't control is myself, how I move, how I eat, how my mind thinks and processes all these inputs. And those are that's the best I can do. Educate, compartmentalize, and focus on where I have agency. Look, I can't control geopolitical conflicts. I can't control the Fed. What I can control is waking up tomorrow, lacing up my shoes, and going for a 3-mile run. That's my agency. If you feel like the noise is winning in your life, let me know what's the one physical thing that you're going to do to take your agency back. Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you on the trail tomorrow.